POPP or polyester film line started long back in 1965, 1967, when it was a 3-meter line and hardly an output of 150 kilo to 200 kilos per hour. Today it has reached to a level almost now the output of 10 tons per hour is possible, and the speed has gone to 600 meters. We already have 10.5 meter machines running, and soon with our partners we are working on a largest line in the world, which will be a 12-meter line. So 12-meter line, 600 meter speed is not a small thing, it's a 11 ton per hour. As the commodity, the packaging film has started becoming commodity in the late 90s, and that was the reason the lines have been becoming wider, the speed has been going up. Productivity was the focus as it has become a commodity, but it has definitely led to a different innovations. Like Manoj said, most of the time when we hear disruption, it is a negative connotation, that it is a disturbance or something bad is going to happen. But no, disruption is leading to an innovation. So productivity has gone up, efficiency has improved because of the technology. Today's design is not about the machine control. Earlier we used to set the parameters on the machine to achieve a certain quality. Now the technology has moved to a process control. If I want to give a small example, if you want a certain temperature of the film, earlier you were required to set parameters in the machine to achieve that film temperature, and the quality was not consistent because the seasonal impact of the temperatures of the machine was affecting the film. But today you can set the parameters for the film temperature. Quality, if you see the system on the dosing system, on the accuracy of the feeding system, the thickness control system. Today the thickness control systems are so reliable that you don't need to measure the thickness of the film, whatever is shown on the screen. Earlier we used to measure a film thickness on almost 100 points on a 6 meter or 8 meter width. So quality, efficiency and productivity has been disrupted. The fortunate part is most of the machines doesn't get obsolete. They can be upgraded, they can be modified. Moving forward, as Dr. Shailesh Kumar has explained, it is all about artificial intelligence, machine learning. The process is becoming very easy, the safety is going up, the reliability and the quality of the product is going up. So the future is digitization. At the same time, because machines are becoming wider, the output is high, the design of the machines will have to be a very robust, and we definitely need an engineer.
Professor Clayton in his book, Innovator's Dilemma, mentioned that disruptive technology is something which supersedes the older process, our older product, our habits. So in light with that, say 3 to 4 decades back, we started with rigid packaging. So like we used to have container, glass container, tin container, aluminum container, etc., etc. I think because of higher energy cost or it's a high cost, and also there were unmet customers requirement like better aesthetic, easy to handle, easy to transport, easy to store material. So I think over the period of time, this rigid packaging has changed to a flexible packaging, where a lot of new products were introduced, new substrates like polyester film, BOPP film, BOPA film, CPP, etc., etc. And with this, I would say this is the biggest disruption happened a few decades back, where the packaging, completely changed from rigid to flexible packaging. And then within flexible packaging, there have been many innovations, many disruptions. So like, the barrier, the seal strength, the bond strength, etc., were improved initially through extrusion technology, and then came in metallization, where it was improved a lot, and then it came in inline coating, where with various kind of coating barrier was improved. Then came in later our offline coating, where various kind of coating, whether it is water-based, solvent-based, solventless, were applied. So for example, PVDC coating, Elox coating, Cyox coating, etc., etc. But I think the second biggest disruption came in because of metallization, where large number of products or quantity were replaced by metallized product from aluminum foil. So this is one big disruption happened in last 2 decades. The third disruption which I think has happened, in my mind is coming, is when there was an introduction of sachet. So for example, chick or velvet sachet, when this was introduced, so earlier, do you remember that we used to have big container for shampoo? Now with the introduction of small sachet, I think that the way shampooing is done in India, I think whole of India is doing shampooing, which was not possible earlier. So in my mind, this is another third disruption which has happened in technology, and it has changed the complete behavior of the people.
We had done extensively work in this field. The counterfeiting, it is not only affecting the brand owners, it is affecting everyone. Because ultimate victims are consumers, because they pay the high price for the poor quality product. It is not only the quality product, sometimes it is getting exposed to health and safety of the product also. What happened, there are brands like medicines and baby food and food products, any counterfeiting which is affecting the health of the consumer. So if you remember that way back 2000, agro industry was facing a serious threat on the counterfeit, because those days seeds were getting packed in a cloth bag. The consumers are farmers. They go and buy the cloth bag, and then they started putting it on that. They will come to know that whether it is an original product or counterfeit. When they do an harvesting, what is the crop yield which is coming, then they will come to know that. That was the time a lot of flexible packaging company, Paharpur is one of the pioneer converting from the cloth bag to laminates. That was the first step of protecting the counterfeit and protecting the brand. So that is the initial stage we have started. The last 2 decades, technologies have got evolved. I would say that my co-panelists talk about the film. I'll just refer that as Paharpur 3P, even other flexible packaging companies, how they have done it on the printing area. I will refer that we have a certain experience with the certain brands, how it is helping the brand to protect their brands and eliminating the counterfeit. I'll just start, I'll share few. We had done a lot of work on that. I'll share few points here. One is the tactile printing, which is not a new technology. It has been there in the cartons. Flexible packaging companies, which is rarely being used. It is known as a embossing or raised one. This can be felt by the consumer touching the surface of the film. They can differentiate the product. The effect has been achieved through the certain coatings and applicator. We had worked with a certain brand. The brand gave a good reference to that it was very effective in the rural market. Consumer can differentiate, consumer can identify the original product from the counterfeit. These are the things visibly consumer can see the difference. There are other non-visible which manufacturer can understand, because there are many times manufacturer, when they do go for the market audit and they go to the rural market and check their products, whether as it is their product, that they know that what is their product. So one is that lenticular printing. Lenticular printing is basically, this effect cannot be seen through the naked eyes. you have to have a specially designed card which the manufacturer knows that you can keep the card beneath the image and you can understand, yes, this is my product, when the consumer, the manufacturer can understand that. This is one way the brand owners can know that when they visit the market, when they do go to the rural market and they go to the modern trade, when then they can do a cross-checking whether is there any spurious products are available in the market. The third one is the microtext. It has been a microtext. It has been there for a very long time. It's the text matter which can be printed with the special help of a certain engraving process. It is very small. It cannot be copied by the counterfeit products. If anybody wants to copy the design or something, that it would be very easy. This effect also can be assessed by the manufacturer, not by the consumer. So there are a lot of other printings are there. Then RFID printing. RFID has been not there in the country. We're not using it in many often. It has been, it can be printed on the any labels and flexible through the RFID printed with conductive wings, which can be done through the other printing technologies also. Now everybody is aware of the QR code has been becoming a prominent because it is an alternative way to connect to the consumer through the variable QR code to give the message. This can be done through the special software and it can be done in our process offline or online printing also. So these are the certain printing technology which has got evolved and helping and eliminating the counterfeits in the market. So now that there are a lot of liquid packaging, a lot of companies, everybody is coming out with the spout pouches, which has been very, Paharpur is being the #1 in the liquid packaging and we are the market leader in spouted business. So corporate companies are getting evolved into a tamper evident through the seals and labels. Paharpur has developed the tamper evident spout, which has a special feature to eliminate the counterfeits. So this has been patented also by Paharpur. So these are the certain technology we had implemented. There are a lot of other technologies are there. Let me conclude my discussion that technology is getting evolved in the current. We need to keep evolving. We need to bring the new technology, ensuring that protecting the brand and protecting the consumers also. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sundaram. In fact, it's amazing to hear your, the kind of solution which Paharpur 3P is offering.
The papers division of ITC. So I'm probably the odd man out in this entire gathering. But then if you look at flexible packaging, okay, the trends that has been started off is, the first one was on secondary packaging, where it is replacing plastics, where not much of a barrier is required, but then predominantly runnability on the existing machines and heat seal is required on paper. So globally, a lot of work has happened on this area, and even in India, many of us are working on the secondary packaging side of it. Attempting to answer your question on what's happening on the primary packaging, WVTR and OTR, of course, two important considerations. If you look at WVTR, we are somewhere, the last that I read of, that the best that a paper plus a barrier coating has achieved is somewhere around 18 grams per square meter at, of course, 90% RH. And OTR, we are still far away. OTR, I don't think we've even come below 3 digits is what I would say. That is where it is. But the way at which technology is progressing, I would say 3 years ago, WVTR is almost at beyond 100. It's now been brought down to less than 20. Similarly, I think in the next 2 to 3 years, OTRs can also be achieved. One major difference that's happening when we use barrier coating on paper is, people are not asking what is the product package compatibility first. That question is coming later in the day. The first question that they ask us is what is going to happen on end of life disposal. So the barriers which are being designed are designed for repulpability or recyclability. That's the first aspect that is being looked at. And then of course performance and product package compatibility. That is what is happening as far as paper with barrier coating is concerned on flexible packaging. Coming to answer your question on what is happening on end of life, one place where paper has been lucky is that it already has a very well established segregation, collection and recycling mechanism, right? So all the solutions which are being designed for flexible packaging are designed in such a way that they can enter the existing paper recycling stream, right? So, and the EPR rules also, if you look at category 3 or category 4, category 3 which talks about plastic married to any other substrate, and category 4 which talks about compostable products. These two categories, the new age flexible paper would fall under these two categories. And of course it can also be easily segregated and then collected and recycled. So I think that's where we are. We are close to achieving the numbers as far as WTR is concerned. OTR could probably happen in the next 1 to 2 years. While
was gathering tremendous learnings for me, particularly since yesterday, which I'm sure will carry on all through the day. So our panel is all about disruptive technologies, and a hologram, as most of you might already know, is without any inks. When you see a hologram, there are absolutely no inks in it. What you see is basically a reflection or refraction of light that gives you the visual relief that you do. And it is precisely because of this reason that way back when the technology evolved in the 1980s and thereabouts, it was immediately seen as something very unique, something very eye-catching because of its visual appeal, the vibrant colors, the ability to see some motion within the hologram, images flipping. So it was a very magical technology of sorts, and it caused a huge disruption. Because it did not contain any inks, it was not possible to photograph or scan a hologram effectively to replicate the effects that it had, the original image. As a result, a normal printer could not produce the hologram unless he had access to the holography technology. And this is why a hologram made great strides as soon as it was launched in the world of protection, brand protection, anti-counterfeit, high security, call it what you will. So we saw holograms adopted on initially documents of high value, ID cards, which obviously need protection. It was also used as a label form to protect products against counterfeiting, where it was applied directly on the product or on the packaging. So as soon as somebody saw a hologram, one knew that yes, it was an authentic product. And it was a matter of time before practically all the passports in the world, all the visas in the world, most of the major currencies, one notable exception being the US dollar, but most major currencies in the world today employ a hologram to ensure that that's a very strong feature against counterfeit. And various surveys have also clearly established that a hologram is amongst the top 2 features on a banknote to be verified. So continuous evolvement is happening on that front, and more technologies are being developed to make the hologram even more robust. Now, as far as the other aspect of the hologram goes, which is brand protection, the hologram has also been integrated into the packaging and into the labeling very effectively. So we have seen several examples now of holograms being merged with flexible packaging, with rigid packaging. Something interesting here. What started as a narrow web technology when it was evolved gradually moved to a wider width so as to facilitate its blending with the flexible packaging, which obviously needed a much wider width of holographic effects. Stamping foils have been evolved, stamping foils are there, holographic stamping foils.
Perfectly resonates with the packaging industry. While you wrap products, we as a IT company wrap technology, which actually enhances the user experience and increases user adoption. New age digital technology can actually shift your packaging industry to the next level, thereby enhancing brand loyalty and product engagement. Using augmented reality today, you can present your products in a more thrilling and informative way. Rather than cluttering a lot of literature on your bottles or your cans, You can actually read it on your mobile device, just as you would read any WhatsApp forwards. We also built up a metaverse type factory walkthrough, in which you can actually walk through your entire factory, explain your product, entire process of how you do your packaging. So your foreign clients need not come to your factory and visit it, and you can do business in a much more frugal way. Okay? I will showcase a small little video which will explain what I'm talking about, and then I will further elaborate on it. The video, please.
Digital packaging has always been there, and it's something that this heading of this speech or this sitting is disruptive packaging. Digital packaging has been there for a number of years, and it's amongst us now. It's been out there for a quality of six to 7 years. Has it grown in the industry? No, not at all. It's still in the under 1 or 1% of the total flexible packaging for the printing side of things. But what has grown in the flexible packaging is short runs. Now, when short runs come in for customers, that means digital packaging or digital printing will be able to take on its own form and be more relevant in the printing. Because at the moment, we're converters, we're printers, we're everything we want to be. And brand owners will start looking at digital printing in their own plant because they don't need pre-press. They don't need all the pre-press or the upstream stuff to print. All they need to do is buy some film, print what they require, and then make their own packaging. So it's not something that we should take lightly. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done on drying, on films, and upstream. But when we talk about digital packaging, we have to think it is here now. It is to stay. It is now wide web. You can get digital form printing up to 2 meters wide. It can be 130, 140 meters in linear speed. We all know that we think of digital packaging narrow and slow, but that is now gone. It is now taking a step forward and is now here and is now relevant, and it is going to be something that everybody should look at. It can be offline or it can be integral. You just have to discuss it with the right people.
Thank you, Mark. One more question to you is, do you think the paper is sustainable and alternative to plastics with your experience in the industry?
Paper packaging it's always been there. It's been in board form, it's been in many types of form. When we talk about paper packaging, I'm assuming we're going to talk about food type packaging or more process or consumer type packaging for fruits and vegetables and so on and so forth. It is something that's there. It is growing in America. The Walmarts of the world are pushing for it. Where I'm from in Australia, the major chains there are also pushing for it and banning plastics. So paper is something that we need to...
Mr. Singh, Executive Vice President and Head Global Operations for SRF. Thank you, Hari sir. N.S.Sundaram sir, CEO Paharpur 3P. Sanjay Chincholikar, Business Head Technical Films and Rigid Packaging, Cosmo Films. P.N. Sridharr, DGM Sustainable Products and Packaging, ITC. Thank you, Sridharr sir. And Holoflex, I think something actually disruptive, because it can, maybe a lot of people are not using it, but they would want to use all your technology. Bampfield, Director, APAC Region, Hudson Shop. and Mr. Richard Souza,